Hi there, this is Art and Such with part 1 of my new Glinda design from the Wizard of Oz. It is based in part on tutorials by A's Princess Aurora design, and I'll put the link in the description for you. So we're going to try this again, and I'm going to get some more detail for you, starting with your materials. You will be needing gray or silver for your crown, a skin tone band of any shade for Glinda's face and body, parts of her body, blue for the eyes or a different color if you choose, pink for the dress, and yellow or gold for her hair. You'll be needing a hook, crochet hook, rainbow loom hook, and you might want a holding hook as well. And we're going to be doing about half of our project in the offset loom position and half of it in the standard rectangular position. So you'll have the choice of having 2 looms handy or of moving the pieces around as needed. For that, you'll just be taking the middle row off and bringing it up 1 peg. So let's start with our crown. We'll do our accessories first. And I have the layout for you. I've used red just to make it a bit easier to see, but you'll probably want to use a silver or a gray. We want this to be nice and tight, so we're going to take our first bands and double them over onto your fingers before you put it onto the loom. And that will go from your first peg to your second peg on each of the rows. So 3 times you'll do that. And then we're going to do double bands, so 2 bands going from your second peg to your third peg for each row, and 2 bands going from each of your third pegs to your fourth pegs for each row. For these bands, because you don't want anything sticking out, you'll also be doubling over your single, so fold it around onto your finger and put it across from the second peg to the second peg all the way across. And repeat that here, third peg to third peg, a single doubled over so it's nice and taut. Then we'll be making our caps for the crown, and I've made 2, but I'll show you how to do this and then you can finish up yourself. We're going to take a single crown colored band, loop it 3 or 4 times onto your hook, take a second crown colored band, bring it onto itself so it's a doubled over, bring the tip right on top, that band you've just wrapped over, and replace. And we'll do this 3 more times. So 1 band doubled over and bring this on top, and again. If you choose to make it a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, that's quite alright as well. And that's about the size we want. So you'll make 3 of these, and each one will be going on to the 4th peg from the top for each row. So we're going to stretch it out and make sure we get all of our bands on, and twist it so that it's facing upwards. You will be putting your second set, your second cap on the middle, and the third cap on the side. So whenever you feel the need, you can pause this video and you can always go back if there's something you want to check out again. But this is the outline for our crown, and we can start looping up. So go under those caps, pull it back, and bring those first 2 up. Under your cap, reach down, grab the bottom 2, pull them up. And you can just wiggle it a little bit if it's kind of tight. You'll get that last folded over one, and this might be a bit tight, but just be careful with it, it should be okay. We'll repeat it on the middle row. So we're just going under our caps and bringing all of these to the tops of their respective rows. And last one on the side. Oops. Make sure you're getting under there. There we go. Under your cap, bring it up, and you can put your hook underneath. Don't let these top bands come loose, but just hold on to them on your hook. You can put those on a holding hook or on the side. We will be using that when we start on our head. There is our crown. So yours is probably, as I said, going to be silver or gray, and you can use gold if you prefer. That's our first part. Our second part will be the arm, and I've made one here already. You can see what it's going to look like. We're using all skin tone bands for this, and we'll take a single band, loop it 3 times onto our hook, take a single and double it over. We're going to do exactly what we did with those crown caps, except that now we will be doing this 5 times, I believe. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 'and we'll do one more for 5. If you're finding it's hard to work with this much tension, you can always use just double bands, so 2 bands at a time, and bring it through that first loop band and keep repeating that, and that will be fine as well. It's just going to have a bit of a looser look. So you'll want to make 2 of those. Then we can start on our shoulder piece. This is the puffy shoulder piece. Have one made already, and we're gonna make the other one together here. So for your layout, you'll need 2 pink bands going from your top center peg to your top side peg, and another 2 going down this way. You'll do 2 sets of double bands going down on either side. Then we'll connect it in the middle from the 3rd peg on the side to the 4th peg on the center, 2 bands. And likewise from the 3rd peg on this side to the 4th in the center. And you can fill that in with 3 sets of double bands. And then we need to cap it a couple of times. So we'll put 1 band over that bottommost peg. If you'd rather do this on your hook, you can do that, or bring it on top. You'll need 3 or 4 wraps there. And we can make some caps. So bring it across from your 2nd peg to your 3rd peg and stretch it over the 2nd peg in the center into a triangle, and repeat that below from the 3rd to the 3rd. And we will just loop that right up. So go under your cap. First 2 go forward, and from here it doesn't matter terribly much which order you go in, as long as you're getting all those bands. The direction I've chosen is to go straight up, to go to the side, reaching under and bringing our next set up, and loop up the side. We'll meet those in the middle when we're done. So grab that last band, last 2 bands, bring it up, and now we have 1 more row to do here. So go under your cap, last 2 bands to your other side. We'll stretch those up so we can see them a bit better. And our next 2 coming up, come up, 2 more up. If you only grab 1, don't worry, you can come right back under and get the next one. And 2 more to the center. We're going to take 2 pink bands and slip it inside to connect in a slip knot. If you want it to be a little tighter and closer to the body, you can use a single and double it over, but that gets a little bit tricky. And there we go. Hold on to those loops and you can remove this from your loom. You'll want to set that aside and make the second one. Okay. Let's give it a stretch. There we go. Now our last piece, our last component to work on right now is the extension for the dress. And what you're going to do is start at your 5th peg from the top. If you're using the square configuration on your loom, then you're going to be putting these next bands across sideways, straight sideways, but because these ones are offset, I'll be pulling them up, or you can start this one higher and pull them down. It doesn't really matter. At any rate, you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of double bands, so 2 bands between each of these pegs. And from each of these, except for the first one, you'll take 2 bands and bring them across to your next peg. And this stretches it out a little bit, and these holds as caps, and these are going to be capping bands on the dress, as well as a way for us to make the dress look bigger. So we'll reach under the first one, and we're just going to go straight up. We're not even going to pay attention to those side ones right now. Go straight up the side. Make sure you're getting under those caps, and when you're done, put your hook through those top 2, and we're going to remove all of this from your loom. Okay, it'll come out a little bit like this, and in a short time we'll be pulling these out across our pegs as caps and as an extension. So at this point you should have with you a crown, 2 extensions is what you'll be needing, 2 arms, and 2 shoulder pads, 2 shoulder puffs. I will see you for part 2. Hi there, this is Art and Such with part 2 of my Rainbow Loom Glinda tutorial. We made many of our components in the first part, and now we can start on our body. So you'll need your loom in an offset position. If you are more comfortable with the rectangular shape, you can do that, and you'll just have to make some adjustments by bringing your bands down sideways instead of up diagonally. Alright, so we're going to need 2 skin colored bands going from the top peg to the second peg on the middle. This will be our neck piece. 2 pink bands going upwards to the top first peg on the side, 2 going this way. And you'll want to pause your video here and fill in all of these pegs, 2 pegs going from each peg to the next to the bottom of the loom. The next thing we're going to do now is put some cap bands, and we're just going to do these on our top couple here. So we'll do a triangle band, second peg to second peg, and bring it down over the third peg, and we'll do this again, and one more time, and then we will be ready to put on our arms, our shoulders, and our extensions. So let's start with our shoulders. They can go on your top peg for either side. If you're not happy with the looseness, as I said, you could always use a single band or a double and bring it over. I'm just gonna actually fold that over onto itself so it's a little bit tighter here. We'll do that for our other side. So I'm folding it to make it just a little bit snugger. We can put our arms on top. So put all those bands over your top peg on the one side. Remember to push it down so it doesn't come loose on you. And turn it around. We'll do the same for our other side on the top. We can take our extension, and you had held on to those top 4 bands. Those will go on your 5th peg from the top. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take all these little loopy parts and stretch it out like that. So find the next one, try to get as close as you can to the order that they were in, and it'll just make things look a little neater. But if you're having a terrible time finding the right bands, don't worry about it too much. We're going to keep stretching it. And this, as I said, will make the dress a little bit puffier, and it's also gonna hold some of these bands in place and save us some triangle band work later. And last two. These go right on the bottom. And I'm actually gonna go right ahead to our next one here. So let's turn it around. We'll go to our 5th peg from the top, and we're gonna repeat this again. So get inside those loops, bring it to the peg underneath and the one in the center, and the peg underneath and the one in the center. We'll keep going down like that. Gets a little bit tight here, and that's okay. Just keep stretching it out and stretching it down. Almost done. We need 2 more or 3 more here. This one. Make sure it gets under that piece. 2. And last one. 3. Alright. It's going to look a little bit messy, but everything should be covered now. We want one more band to stretch across just these 2 pegs. So your 5th peg to your 5th peg, if you can, try and get that right underneath your final caps from your extension. We'll bring that across there as well. All right, and we are ready to loop up our dress. So the middle bands, I'm just going to come up, and we'll follow these right to the top, pull back all those caps as you go. You can see I'm kind of holding some of these bands down. I'm holding the board down as I go, just to keep things steady. Straight to the top here. And under the triangle caps. And we'll stop actually just before we get to the neck so that we get all our dress pieces on. Sorry if you got ahead there. We're going to go back to the bottom and reach under the caps. You might want to turn this to the side to see better. Your first one will be a little bit loose. That's okay, just get it up there out of the way. And we'll look at this from the side now. So under your caps, bottom 2, bring them upwards. Go down under all your caps. Grab the bottom 2, bring them upwards. We're just going to keep doing this right up to the top shoulder pegs. Once you're here, right at the top, we can reach under all of these, find your bottommost 2, bring them over and back down onto the second peg in the center. I'm going to turn this around and loop up the other side. Just going to turn this way. I'm really, please take your time with this because you don't want to miss any bands. That's going to cause you some grief later on, and you'll have to do a lot of undoing, redoing, which is no fun. Here you go. I'll slip in there again, grab the bottom 2. Once more, we'll be going all the way to the top. If you're a really fast loomer and you're far ahead of me, please feel free to jump ahead. We're gonna keep going here, and then for those of you who, as I say, are more advanced loomers, you'll know when we get to the top, we're just going to be putting our hook through our skin tone bands, which I'll show you in a minute, and removing this all from the loom. Okay, a couple more to go. And we'll be bringing this last side piece into the middle second, center. So push those bands down, reach underneath, find the two that are going back to that second center peg. It's a little tricky to get to it. Okay. Alright, we'll wiggle that free a bit to the center and go underneath. Now we're going to get those two neck bands. You can see I'm turning it sideways so I can see under everything. And what I'm going to do is just put my thumb right on top of that, and then I can use my hook and my hands to release the rest of the dress all the way down. When you're ready, I will see you for part. Hi there, this is Art and Such with part 3 of my new Glinda design. In part 2, we made our body, put all those pieces together, and you'll have your crown handy for this next part as well. We're going to start on our loom, and I'm doing this in the offset position. And we begin with 2 gold or yellow bands going from the first peg on the center to the first peg on the side. Another 2 bands to the other side from the center. Go down twice with sets of 2 bands, all yellow. And then we're going to do 2 sets of skin tone bands. And here we can make some curls for the hair. If you want it to be really thick, you're going to make 4 of these, and you put 2 on each of these sides. For the purpose of brevity, I'm just going to make 2 this time. So we'll take a hair colored band, wrap it twice on our hook. We'll take a single and bring this on top, and we're going to do a single chain using 4 more, so we have that first band going on to 5 sets in total. And it slipped off there. Let's try that again. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can make as many of these as you like. You can make them as long as you like, and if you'd like that to be thicker, you can always use double bands or doubled over bands instead. So these will go onto the 3rd peg on either side. You can take a minute here, pause, and make at least 1 more chain, but you can do 2 more or several more if you like. And then we can continue with the skin tone for our face. So we'll take 2 bands from the 3rd peg on the side to the 3rd peg on the center, and repeat on our other side. We're going to do some eyes. So for this, I will take 2 blue bands, wrap each one about 3 times onto my hook. 1, 2, 3. And we'll stretch this onto a skin tone band. Put that on the end of your hook, creating a little bit of tension, and bring these on top. And this will go from our 2nd peg to our 2nd peg. And we're going to separate the eyes so it's a little easier to see them when we loop this all together. Stretching these out, keeping it taut, and we're going to bring 1 band over that 2nd peg on the center. Now we're ready to add our dress. It doesn't really matter which side goes in front, but I guess you'll want to pick your cleaner side, and you can always fix up those bands after. Mine were kind of stretched out to begin with, so it's going to need a little work. That's not such a big deal. But we're going to take our skin tone bands from our neck piece and put it onto the third peg down the center. What I like to do is bring the rest of it down to the next peg just so that it's out of the way when we're looping. We're going to put a cap band over the eyepiece here, and we can attach our crown now. So you'll get it on your hook, and you'll see there are 3 sets of 4 loops. You'll put each of those sets of 4 onto one of your top pegs. Hold it down, don't let it get loose on you. So there's one. Second set will go onto the middle. I'm just going to turn this around so you can see it a little bit better, I hope. If it's easier for you, you can always do 1 or 2 bands at a time. This one's being a little bit difficult, sorry about that. There's 1, there's 2, 3, and 4. You also have the option of attaching your crown afterwards if you like weaving things on and find that's a more comfortable way to attach. You have that choice as well, but this is going to be a little bit neater, I think, so we'll do this. Here's our crown. Yours, as I said, will probably be a silver or a gray. And we are ready to loop up. So we're going to ignore this bottom part, which is just those bands we put out of our way. We'll reach under the neck piece and bring our first bands to the side, second bands to the other side, and we're just going to loop up everything back to the direction, back to the peg it came from. Loop up the center. And we'll slip under all these hair pieces. Slip under your neck bands. Grab the bottommost 2, and they should be yellow. Just being really careful we don't lose any of those other bands in the process. And we'll go down and get the next 2 yellow. Bring those upwards. We'll repeat this on our other side. So get underneath your hair bands, your skin bands, and 2 yellows moving upwards. Go back under, grab your next 2 yellow bands, bring those up. Ooh. If you ever lose a band, as I just did, you can slip your hook back through the bands it's supposed to go through and bring it right back up. Now we're going to reach under and get those bottom 2 from the last peg and bring it to the center. And bottom 2 on the other side. Just going to pull this out a little bit to see it better. Okay, let's get a crown. Well, we'll get a yellow band for our hair. We're going to slip through all of these many bands on your top peg. Get 1 yellow band, or 2 if you're worried about it breaking. We're actually going to try and reach this under the crown if we can, so that it doesn't cover it. So I'm going to slip through this little space and bring up that yellow, loop it one side over the other into a slip knot. Hold on really, really tight, and we can start to remove this from our loom. And then we're done most of the hard stuff. We just have some tidying up and finishing touches. Now these top couple are going to be really tight, so you'll probably want to use your hook. Okay, You're going to need or want a C-clip most likely. You can hide that last securing band on the back. Just going to grab one here and put that on. If you have any really loose bands on the back of your dress, what you can do is slip underneath, put your hook under another band, bring it underneath, and keep repeating that until things are nice and tight, and this can be secured with a C-clip. We'll turn around to our front again. We're going to make sure our eyes are showing but not too far out. We're going to take our arms and bring them through a couple of bands so that they're showing in front of our shoulder pads. Give everything a little stretch and a pull. Oh, there we go. Okay, tighten the pieces you feel need tightened. Then we're going to do a little bit of a crown for or tiara for the forehead. So loop a single gray or silver about 3 times. Put it onto a single. And just hold on to that, because what we're going to do is grab it through from the back. I'll get you to have a look at the thumbnail. This comes out really nice. So you'll have something like this, and you can secure it in the back by just bringing a band right through both of those. And we'll find a place for this on our C-clip as well. Or you can tie a really strong knot and hope it holds. Okay. And our last thing will be to put a silver necklace. So single band, loop it twice, and bring it over the neck. Make sure your hair's out of the way. You can loop it more times if you like, or do a second one. And again, feel free to tighten up those shoulder pads. Not sure why they came out quite so loose here, but it's okay, we can fix that. So again, all I'm going to do is reach under a couple of bands, bring my loose bands through, and we'll just get that a little bit tidier. So you'll finish it up to your liking, and there is your Wizard of Oz Glinda design. Thanks for watching.